Welcome back. We're at the Wine and Wellness Week at the World of Wellness. This is our roundtable discussion, and I'm so excited to your host today, Jamie Dorley, with my co-host. Welcome back, Joe Messino. And now more than ever, we're really excited because so many people asking about quality. In fact, I had a woman in here earlier asking me about K2 dosing. I asked her where she bought the K2 from, and she said,
Some pharmacy.
ooh, so we couldn't even evaluate it. So, which brings us up a great topic, which is quality control, because some people think that since the FDA doesn't certify products, they're not approved.
Yeah.
That there's nothing to vitamins. However, there is tremendous quality in vitamins, just like any other industry.
Sure.
Clothes, computers, cell phones, cars.
Food.
There's always quality control standards. Absolutely. Medications. Even on your mattress, Joe, right?
That's right.
Don't ever take that tag off.
No,
You'll
you're
be in
not
trouble.
allowed. Or that
So
pillow.
QC control throughout the industries in our country, and it's really important, I think, more than ever for anything you ingest, right?
Yeah.
So I'd like to welcome for the first time to the show this young man. It's hard to tell. He looks so good. I like the shirt, looking good as always. Comes to us with 30 years of experience in the nutraceutical field. He worked at Douglas Labs for almost 27 years. So both these guys used to work at Douglas. I helped them escape and come over onto the bright side. Now, I got a lot of friends at Douglas from the family. But Jim Steiner comes to us as VP of Operations at Nutritional Frontiers, and he's so generous because I know he's got a tremendously busy schedule. So thanks so much, Jim. Welcome to the round table. How's it going?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate
Jimbo.
it. Excited to be here. Thank you.
So let's hear a little bit about your background. I know 27 years. I mean,
Right.
God, that's a long time ago.
Yes.
Must have started when you were
I was 14.
Did you? I was
actually,
going to say,
when I
did you
started.
do anything before that?
No, it was prior to child labor laws.
Yeah,
Right.
So,
Pikes Peak was a pimple back then.
Right.
That's so long ago.
yeah.
So how did you get even into Douglas? Let's start way back then.
So I started back in 1993. Actually, when I started with the company, I actually started on the shop floor as a formula technician and worked my way through the company. Went from formula technician through production manager to director of training. And then when I left, and throughout all of that, there was, quite a few acquisitions, transitions throughout my life. So made it through all of those. In my last role when I left there, I was the program director. So until I came here, which I'm surprisingly, it's already almost been 2 years. So it's been a quick 2 years.
As they say, time flies.
Time flies,
fun,
right?
So.
We've accomplished a lot in that short period of time.
So let's go
been a
back
great
because
career.
I don't want to get too technical, but we do want to provide education. People invest
Right.
a lot of time watching this. So we were back in the industry before the SHEA Act, the Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act. So that was right around 1994, right?
Mhm.
394.
Right.
So what exactly was the SHEA Act, and how does that affect everybody?
So a lot of this, it was based more around food than it was around drug, right? So, and as Jamie said, like the business was really booming. Business for nutraceutical was really booming in mid to late 90s, early 2000s. And what was happening is there was what I call these mom and pop shops. A lot of these mom and pop shops were popping up, and they were just making product, and they weren't doing it very ethical. So the SHEA got involved with that a little bit, but then that really promoted the FDA to take another look at this. So
Right.
prior to 2005, our industry was based upon food. So we fell in the food industry. 2005, the FDA really started to get involved with it. And by 2007, they came out with their new rules and regulations.
Yeah,
So,
and that's all the CGMP guidelines we're going to talk about a little bit.
Right.
Before we do, Joe, when we hear about all this, the SHEA Act and FDA, it's very confusing. So it really provided two securities for the consumer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Purity and potency.
Right.
How important is that, especially doing what you do with the Oligo scan and all the training you do for doctors? I mean, food allergies, toxicities. How important is that to make sure the purity and potency is there?
There's nothing more important, simply put, because we always were. You heard in the early days, Jim, when we first got into this, and Jamie, doctors saying, it's just expensive. You're going to get expensive urine. You're wasting your money.
Right.
Well, you know what? If you're taking impure products and you're spending money on it, yeah, You are wasting your money.
Right.
And will they hurt you? Maybe not, but they won't help you. And that's why we're there. So potency and purity, top of the list. There's nothing more important.
Yeah, and I always equate it to the health department is going to inspect McDonald's and Capital Grille. The difference is the selection of raw ingredients.
Correct.
Yes.
Because you can still make a vitamin that's not very good, but it will pass label claim. But it's very low dosed, poor forms, and things we don't want in there.
Correct.
So before we get into that, can you explain a little bit about Nutritional Frontiers certifications and what does that mean?
Yes. So Nutritional Frontiers, we are registered with the FDA. So that means
congratulations, Jim.
So,
great job. And that's up to date this year?
That is up to date for this year. So we are registered with the FDA, and that does allow the FDA to come and audit us at any given time. So the FDA can show up at the door and they can audit us, and they can audit the facility, the people, as well as our processes.
Does that mean before this registration they couldn't?
They could.
They still could.
They still could, right?
Yeah.
But now we are registered.
Yeah.
We have a registration number. It's out there for the public to see, so it's very easy to look up to determine what our registration.
That takes us to the next level.
Puts us to the next level, right? And what this next slide that's up on the screen here. This talks a little bit about what the FDA is and what it does, right? So as I suggested, the FDA really took a different stance to this in 2007. I was lucky enough that in 2005, one of the auditors, the FDA auditors, a senior auditor, visited Douglas in 2005. It was actually Atrium Innovations at the time.
Right.
And she kind of gave us a heads up of what's coming our way, right? So we were kind of able to prepare, and it took us 2 years to prepare for that, and then again in 2007, they implemented these new rules, which it's the final rule. It's the 21 CFR Part 111. So that's the rules that we follow. That's the rules that the entire industry should follow. But in Nutritional Frontiers, we take them very serious, and that's what we follow. And these rules apply to pretty all across the board, from manufacturing, packaging, labeling, if you're kitting a product, distribution, as well as importing any goods.
I know you get such different reactions when you mention the words FDA, right?
Right.
But our experience is they are trying to help the consumer, right?
Correct.
Consume safe supplements,
absolutely,
safe food, and even safe medication. I think where the challenge comes up is that risk reward, right?
Correct.
If you have a medication, does any benefit outweigh the side effects? We're not really getting into that today.
Right.
I just want to paint the picture for everyone. Their goal is to make sure you are safe.
Right. It's public safety is what they're concerned with. And it's not the tax collector coming. It's not the IRS showing up at your door. It's the FDA. They're there to help you, not to hurt you. So.
Well, we hear this, at least I do, the little c and then the big GMP.
Yeah.
So what exactly does that mean? Because a lot of people say, are your products certified or GMP certified? It says, no. Oh, they're not? Nobody's products are, correct?
Right. You can get a stamp of certification on your product, but all that is doing is that's ensuring that the product is made according to the FDA guidelines. Okay. Now, what we're going after right now, we're in the process of it. We're going to become NSF CGMP certified. Okay.
Wow. So, Nutritional Frontiers?
Yeah. Nutritional Frontiers is going to be NSF certified.
Right. Is that mandatory for us?
It is.
I learned recently it wasn't.
It is not mandatory at all. So
why would a company do that?
NSF is an independent auditor, so they come in and they ensure that you are absolutely meeting all the criteria that the FDA has out there. So they're going to make sure that you're following the rules and regulations.
It's like a third-party testing.
That's exactly what it is. It's a third-party auditor. I've been through these in my past life, and I will tell you the NSF is more stringent than the FDA. So they are, without a doubt, they dot their I's, they cross their T's. The auditors are very, very well versed in what they do and how they do it.
So Joe, what are some of the concerns before the CGMP? Because I know I've had a lot of issues with companies back then in the 80s and 90s. So what are some of the things you witnessed? I witnessed adulterated proteins, mislabeled products.
Mislabeled product. Well, the biggest thing that I witnessed was label claim. Okay, by far. Yeah, does it have some ginkgo biloba in there? Maybe a little. Does it have what it says it has on the label? Not even close. You know, and we saw that about 5-6 years ago. It was a big blow up with a lot of these mass market companies that had their label claim wasn't even close. To me, that's the most important thing, because we know therapeutic levels are what we need of most of these nutrients. You know, a little window dressing is not going to do anything
So
for
that's the challenge. Is one is it may say ginkgo leaf 100 milligrams.
you. Yeah.
Where we may show ginkgo extract yielding 100 milligrams. What's the difference on that? You mentioned therapeutic dosing. It got my attention.
The difference is the active part of that plant that does all the work. That's what you want. It's like the yield in minerals, right? You got big old rocks and they yield a certain amount of elemental mineral. Yeah, and it's the same thing with the herbs.
When you say the yield, think about if you're buying, say you're buying steak, right? Organic, grass-fed beef, and you get it with the bone, you're paying for the bone, right? Where if you get it without it, you're getting the yield. So it is exactly what you're looking for. I love the CGMP because what it's done is it's really leveled the playing field.
Yeah, correct.
In fact, some of the well-known vendors and suppliers in the 80s and 90s were actually, convicted of violating this and convicted of fraud. So it's actually cleared out a lot of the bottom feeders, right? And you had mentioned mom and pop locations. We don't mind. We're a small family startup too, but we don't want people doing that and cutting corners.
Right. We do it the right way.
And we find a lot of this is the time on the machinery. You want to comment on that? Because, if a company's buying small amounts, it may cost more money because all the time it entails, right?
Right. Yeah. Requirement with CGMP is that you have to clean your equipment in between each and every lot number and batch that you make. So there is a requirement for that. So it may take, if you're running, 250,000 capsules, it may take you, 2 hours to run that 250,000 capsules, but it can take you 8 to 10 hours in order to clean the equipment and sterilize the equipment and set it
so
back
then there's
up
your run times.
There's your run time
that starts to back up, right?
Correct. Which is cost, right? I mean, if the machine's down, it costs.
Assures the quality of the the content, right? The dosing, the purity,
correct,
and the potency, right? Because you can't have a product and say, oh, it's got dairy free, and it's not, right?
Correct.
You can't say it's got 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C and it only has 300.
Right.
Those days are over.
Absolutely correct. Correct. And when I say mom and pop, that's a lot of what was happening, as Joe mentioned too. So again, it just cleaned our industry up to make sure that people were following the same practices, and that's really the big thing with the CGMP. It's here, people, the premises, the process, the products, and paperwork. So it's it's doing what you're doing the same thing over and over and over again. You cannot deviate from your formula. You cannot deviate from your cleaning process.
Well,
even the premises itself, like with our facility. The facility, we've audited the facility. Just an example, you're not allowed to have grass or bushes 3 feet from your building. You're not allowed to have trees touching your building.
So all those bushes we installed a few years ago, you ripped them right out. Right?
Yeah.
So there you go.
So he took away our dining area, our kitchen, everything. You can't have food in there.
Yeah, no drinks, no food, donuts.
All of our people are trained properly. So we have SOPs, which are standard operating procedures, and all of our employees are trained on those procedures. So this is all part of the process that we have to go through.
And I'm so excited. You and your team do an incredible job. Just want to let everyone know, welcome back. If you're just joining us now, I am Jamie Dorley with my co-host, Joe Messina, with special guest, industry expert on quality control and operations in the nutraceutical field, Jim Steiner. Welcome back, Jim.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
VP of Operations at Nutritional Frontiers. You may have heard him before. You may have heard him as Jimmy Stein, Jim Stein, Jimmy Stein. He answers to any of the above, especially VP of Operations. And we're so excited because his team, Joe, has been working diligently on this. I'm looking for the result, and I say, well, here it comes. Right?
Here it comes.
So the CGMP certification, which is not mandatory for a company like Nutritional Frontiers, we're looking at maybe the end of the summer 2022.
That is correct. Yes.
All fantastic.
Yeah. Every time I walk in there, it looks different, and it looks more and more like, the way it's supposed to look, a warehouse. Nobody having lunch in the room or nothing.
Right.
It's great. And, I just think that's the kind of experience that Jim brings to the table and that's what you need to take you from one level to the next every single time. And maybe someday we'll even be making products.
Oh, it's right around the corner.
Very
So
strong.
Yeah.
we're working on
Where's
a couple
Michaela?
acquisitions
Where
right
is
now,
she?
so we're not going to spoil anything. Spoiler alert. But before we even get into those new things, can you just define what a dietary supplement is? Because I think people think they know. Um, and then the biggest challenge I think is, or misunderstanding really, is that a lot of medications start out as supplements, at least the philosophy,
Correct.
going back to aspirin and white willow bark with Bayer, right? And some things have actually flip flopped, right?
Mhm.
You can buy fish oil as a prescription or a supplement.
Right.
And when I first got into it, DHEA was a Schedule 3 steroid. Now you can buy it in the store. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of misunderstandings. Can you bring some, reality back to this?
Yeah, a little clarity on it. Yeah.
Clarity,
So a dietary supplement, and again, this was separated or segregated, especially, when we went from falling under the food industry as well, right?
Right.
So, it is a vitamin and a mineral. It's an herb or any other botanical, any type of amino acid.
That's all your protein
that's all
powders, your shakes, smoothies,
Correct.
foods.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and any type of dietary substance that is going to increase your total dietary intake.
So even
is
like a
what-
fiber, right? You want to increase your fiber intake, you can do it as a supplement.
Correct. That's considered a supplement. Yes. Yeah.
So something we take a lot of pride in. Nutritional Frontiers, our brand standard, right?
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
this goes above and beyond what the regulations are. And, I just want to let everyone know that every single nutraceutical at Nutritional Frontiers is manufactured in the CGMP USA facility, and all of our herbs are liquid manufactured right here in the U.S. How important is that? Because I know there's so many different manufacturing facilities. We get approached by companies all over the world, but we've chosen to only manufacture in the U.S. because I like to have that transparency of meeting with the facility, knowing the people. So, what are your thoughts on that? With your experience of USA versus outside?
It's being that they're manufactured in USA is critical. I mean, it's very important. Not that there's not good companies outside the United States. Obviously, that there are, but it's much better to have it within the United States. And the big part of that is because of the FDA, right?
Sure.
So the qualifications and certifications are different outside of the United States. So it's very important that we use.
Mhm.
And there are exceptions to the rule. If we do go outside the U.S., like our fish oil and our SPMs, we've chosen to work with Todd Parker and his team, Dr.
Right.
Jorn Dyerberg and Olaf, and they actually have a German pharmaceutical facility. So it's actually the SPMs. If you want to show this to everyone, what's the difference when we start getting into German pharmaceutical? It sounds really high tech.
Right, and it is high tech,
Yeah.
right? I mean, the German material is the crop, cream of the crop, right? So it's top notch. They got great processes that they use. They're using top notch raw materials as well. So yeah, it's good. And again, in that area, they're
Leaders.
regulations. They're leaders, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, and their regulations are extremely strict as well. So you're getting a good quality product.
And with something like SPMs, Joe, why is it so important to go to that highest level in the world?
Mm.
I know these are taken from the seas. So, what are your thoughts on possible toxicity exposure, and then more importantly, getting down to those really important concentrations that not everyone does?
Yeah, well, you got to get to, because this is a systemic anti-inflammatory. So now we're talking about inflammation that's not visible. All right, it's not something where there's swelling, and redness. That's acute inflammation. This goes beyond that. And for years, we've talked about systemic or silent inflammation being the underlying cause of just about all disease. And they even came out in Time magazine a few years back and said this is what causes heart disease. So, yeah, inflammation is a key. But to get to that low level cellular anti-inflammatory, then you need something that's processed to the point that this is. And there's at least 3, maybe 4 different systemic pathways that it covers. So it's not a fish oil. Is it derived from it? Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
But fish oil is great for that acute inflammatory process. When you need it deeper, long term, you need the SPM. So it has to be of the highest quality.
Yeah, and that is really important, the facility, because they have the technology that maybe some of the other companies don't. And that's where we get that really clean derivative of the 14, 17, and 18.
Mhm.
Again, the form we talked about earlier, right? The dosing, the form. And first of all, if you don't even know what form you want, you won't get it.
Right.
And second, you need to make sure you have the staff, the facilities, and the technology to be able to dive that deep to really extract these really fine concentrations. Next thing, of course, the integrity. If you have any issues with Nutritional Frontiers formulations, 100% money back guarantee. Of course, if it's a quality control issue, we want to know because you have to follow a process, right?
Absolutely.
Any issues when someone's having an issue with quality?
Right, right, and we follow up on all of that as well. So even when we receive a product from our contract manufacturer, we take the next step and we do a quality control on that product as well. So that's part of our procedures that when it comes in, before we even receive it, we are going to take this bottle and we're going to open it up. We're going to make sure that everything is intact properly. We're going to check the label, check the inner seal, the outer seal. We even check the count of how many are in the bottle. And if it's off, we reject it and we send it back to the contract manufacturer.
I want to
So
bring
we do
up
take that
a
extra
point,
step.
Jimmy. Now, with Nutritional Frontiers, we have capsules, we have powders, we have chewable tablets, we have liquids, we have transdermals. So with 5 different delivery systems in our line, how much does that impact quality and our ability to determine that quality? It's not it's not just a capsule.
Right, right, and that's a very good point. And that's again, we rely on our contract manufacturers when we are using the best of the best. So there are some people that are better that filling a capsule, encapsulation, right? There's other people that are better than creating a tablet and compressing the powder and making it a tablet form. So in we kind of
What's the vetting process like for these?
So we have a product development team internally here, and we come up with a new idea, or maybe we just want to tweak a formula, and we look at the options of, does this need to go into a capsule or do we need to compress it into a tablet? The big thing with the capsule is everyone always wants to overfill a capsule, right? And they want to fill it up and they want to make it, they think because the capsule looks full, that it has all of its proper nutrients in it, right? That's not always perception, right? That's not always the case. Sometimes, others, they may put excipients in the product just to make it look
full.
So it's just because your capsule looks full doesn't mean it's necessarily full of nutrients in it.
I think when you look at the first two, most companies are going to say they have great quality and integrity, right?
Right.
I think what starts to separate Nutritional Frontiers, the world of wellness, from a lot of other companies in our same field is the next 2 areas: the research ingredients, the patented research trademark ingredients, the PRTs, right? These ingredients are the top level, top quality ingredients. For example, our folate is quadrifolate. You look at our minerals, our albumin minerals. So these are really important because they affect the dosing, the bioavailability, and most importantly, the results people get. We don't use any toxic ingredients. Joe had mentioned all the different delivery systems, and we feel these are better compliance, so you get a better value, because it only makes sense, if you do something like our greens powder, right? This has all the nutrients you need in it above and beyond greens, right? And we'll go into some of the combinations. And we take a lot of pride in our service, and we do over 100 days a year of some type of education, right? Live and streaming.
Correct.
And we feel this is really important because with our line, we test every formulation.
Absolutely.
So you can go through some of these tests and why they're so important.
Right. And it's not only the formula that we test, it's the raw materials going into the formula. So all of our contract manufacturers, as they're receiving raw materials into their facility, they're going to do a micro test on that raw material, and they're going to do an analytical test as well to ensure that they're using the proper material in our formula. And then the finished good itself, we do a micro test, we check for heavy metals. We're going to do an analytical test to ensure that the product, again, meets label claims. So we go through that whole process, ensuring that we're going to meet all that testing as well.
Yeah, you look at the many different types of PRTs, the patented research trademark ingredients that we use. I just want to show everyone a little bit of an example of those ingredients. Joe, do you find this to be very common in our field, or is this unusual?
No, this is very, very unusual. I'll tell you why. Because a lot of companies, like I said earlier, might do a few capsules. They might do a powder, nothing else. Right. And they do a tablet or a chew. With all of the delivery methods we have and all of these patented research trademarked ingredients, this is leading the pack at this point in our industry. The reason? Most companies won't put the time or the money into getting these ingredients because they're not cheap.
And a lot of companies have been sold many times. So when they sell and the company changes hands, do you find they generally increase the
No, they usually
PRTs or decrease?
decrease because some of that
They
extra
do?
money has to go to the
Shareholders?
shareholders.
Right.
Yes, buying out that company. So you don't
Well,
have that issue here.
We use a lot of trademark ingredients. Here is some of the third-party independent testing. This is actually on the protein. If you want to hold that up, Jim, this is really important because protein has actually experienced a few changes in the last years.
Yeah.
One of which was that Coca-Cola, who owns Gatorade, got involved with their G3, which got protein in it.
Yes.
So they bought a lot of protein sources up. We used to use New Zealand whey protein, but Fonterra had an issue with bacteria, right? So you look at those two things going on. Then you look at the industry growing, and especially during COVID, and then it became a protein shortage.
Right.
So what happens when there's a shortage? Price goes up. So our cost on protein is more than doubled since we started the company, which is very unusual for a product to double its cost. Now, we didn't double the price, but what we found is that from some of our colleagues and vendors and everything, there's a few ways that people are getting around this. So if your protein has not gone up, right, you might want to be concerned because what they've done is I've heard they've been diluting the protein.
Correct.
So taking whey protein and maybe adding milk protein. So why would they do that?
Again, just for cost purposes, right? So it's that, we used to call it fairy dust, right? So
Right.
you put as minimal as something in just so it would show up on a test, but the amount isn't going to be the proper amount to actually meet the
Yeah, you're
label
paying
claim.
for whey,
And
you're getting milk, right?
You're getting
You're paying for organic grass-fed beef. You're getting Mickey D's, right?
right.
There's a big
Absolutely.
difference.
Yeah.
So
Also, James, they also cut the servings down, right? Or the actual amount of protein down.
Right.
Right.
Maybe put it in the same jar, make it look the same, keep the price the same, but it's not.
Another
the same.
thing they've been doing is they've been spiking the amino acids because if someone tests it,
Correct.
they generally test the amino acid content.
Right.
So these are different things they're doing. We do not. We chose to bite the bullet. Here's a third-party independent testing on our protein. So we say third-party independent testing. How is that different from the C of A's that we get across the board during the manufacturing process?
So it's just one extra step that we're taking that it's, again, it's going to be an independent lab. And basically what you're doing is comparing their results to the results of the contract manufacturer,
Right.
just
Because
ensuring.
they provide the C of A on their own product.
Correct.
So
Correct.
then this tests against that.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. So it's just more of a verification step that, that we're meeting all the test results and label time.
So what makes it so different? I think they're really the quality of the ingredients, right?
Right.
Those PRTs. So those have logos on them all. So you'll find PRTs in so many different formulations at Nutritional Frontiers, right? And then we like to partner up with the company because they may offer 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 different PRTs.
Right.
Right.
So the unique formulations are more comprehensive. Joe, you want to comment on that? Because I know you used to sell a lot of single nutrients. Now we like more comprehensive.
Well, there's so many formulations we have now that are condition specific that are a single formula because they encompass everything we used to use on an individual basis. Now, if we go back to where we started at Douglas, they had every single herb as an individual product. Every single one. Every one. And maybe 2 versions of it.
Right.
Right? They had just the root and then the extract.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So, it not only is that a cost issue for the consumer, it's a confusing issue for the consumer. And now that we have more and more physicians that are schooled in functional medicine, they need a formula they can go to or they don't have to guess either.
And we have the patient book, right? The NF for Life handbook now. This is a great book. Everyone should have one. This is a little workbook. You can write down your goals and track your progress. And it's really designed to help empower you to make the informed, educated decisions so that you get an opportunity to maximize your health, right? And then if you're a healthcare professional, we have that. And of course, the pyramid of health. Those are some of the things that make us so unique. And then we have the wellness solutions. So, Joe, maybe you can give a quick overview because it looks like a lot going on there, but what is the purpose of having 12 different wellness solutions?
It fits right in with our philosophy, Jamie, of protocol first, then we get the products that fit the protocol with the patented trademark ingredients. So it's our version of a PPI, protocol first. So these are the main conditions that most of our physicians are faced with. So again, take the guesswork out for them, give them protocols they can choose
And for
from.
the consumer, it helps get them a little more clarity on where to start, right?
Yeah, and results
So
are
we have
better.
the handbook, we have the pyramid. Then it's like, well, what is your top issue? For some people, it may be hormones,
Yeah.
right? Other people may be cardiovascular. Maybe it's bone joint inflammation, right? Maybe it's blood sugar. It doesn't matter where it is. If you do the pyramid, then you pick one of these. It's going to give you the lifestyle and the protocol to
Right.
follow, which is really important. So when we look about creating a PRT formula, maybe we can walk through some of these steps, Jim, because we don't just say, "Oh, we're going to come out with a product." There's a lot of work that goes in before we even get to the quoting or the launching step.
Right.
So, what are some of these things, and why are they so important for us?
Yeah, and like I said, with our product development team, we meet and then we kind of go over the idea 1st right?
Mhm.
Like, what do we want to, what do we want to do? What's our next step? What's the formula want to look like? And then we take a look at our theoretical formula, and then we look at, okay, what ingredients can we use to do this? And we really do a good job of making sure that we at least have one, if not multiple, trademark ingredients in that formula as well, and using the top ingredients.
What about
in there.
having the wellness center as a background of
Yeah.
we know what ingredients are working well? How important is that to this process?
It's been great, honestly. Yeah, it's been a nice extra touch to it. And even the feedback that we get, and knowing what works and what doesn't work. So, it's been great feedback from here as well. As well as
Joe's again, Joe.
Yeah,
he's
I know.
very popular.
It's because somebody may want a formula of something. I mean, they'll go to a manufacturer and say, I need a formula with this in it, or I need something that'll accomplish this. We take the formula to the manufacturer. It's finished, right? You vet it. You know what ingredients you want. We know what we want in it, and that way we're the source, not relying on
Very good
someone
point.
else.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we go with the concept. We know which vendor is the best, right? If
Mhm.
we're going to do fish oil versus probiotic
For
versus
that.
protein versus capsule, we know.
Right.
We select these PRTs. We have vendors all over. We create the formula. We test it. Then we create the label based on the test, right?
Right.
We're not doing the opposite. We test the formula for results, and then we launch it on a national level, which is completely different. So I know this is Joe's favorite part. Let's look at some of the bundles, right? My favorite bundle, peanut butter and jelly, right? People know that one, right?
Garlic and oils, right?
Yeah.
I
Garlic
think
and oil, right?
another big piece of this is between the three of us right here. We have almost 100 years of experience in it, right?
Quite a bit, yeah.
So with all this experience, as well as the contacts that we have as well, and the relationships that we have, that it's really, really, huge for us that we can rely on other people as
Yeah,
well.
we had Dr. Weiner, 50 years of experience, right?
Yeah.
DMG, Mike Gallagher with 25 plus years
Yeah.
of experience, right?
Yeah.
You go down the list, Rick Harnish, Todd Parker. You go down the list of our team, Dr. Tracy Straub. It's amazing how much experience we have on our team. And then we lean on our clients with these VIP where we do the roundtable discussion, which we have one this week. So it's really exciting time at Nutritional Frontiers because of the collaboration factor.
Absolutely.
So we joked around about peanut butter and jelly, oil and sauce, right?
Yeah,
Salt
garlic
and
and
pepper.
oil, yeah.
But there are some really cool formulations that we developed using this PRT process, and we like to bundle these together, right? My favorite is looking at Super Shake and Lean Greens, right? Because when you do one scoop of each of those every day, you cover your 90 essential vitamins, minerals, and nutrients. So, Joe, talk about these bundles and why they're so important.
So important because they follow the protocol. And what we've tried to do is make that protocol as concise as possible. So take GI Complete and Probzyme. We know for gut health, you need to repair, right? Then you need to fortify with the probiotics, and then you need to assist with the assimilation of nutrients with the enzymes. So out of that, you get 3 actions in those 2 formulations. That's why the bundles are important.
GI Complete used to be 5 products.
Yeah.
We put it in 1. Probzyme was 2. So we had 7 products. Now you only need 2.
Now you need 2.
You can always add on top, but the base is 2 formulations. So what are some of the other ones? These are also our top selling formulas, Jim.
Sure.
You want to comment on that? Because you do run the operations, and let's share with people the reason they're top sellers is not because of a one-time shot. People continue to buy these because of the results.
Absolutely correct. Yeah, I mean, we're just getting great results with these products, and these are listed kind of as our top items here on what you're seeing up on the screen there.
Mhm.
So yeah, people are getting great results. We're getting incredible testimonials. So this isn't just a one-time move, a high mover. This is just repetitive that people keep coming back and buying these items.
Yeah, and some of these formulations are brand new, like the SPMs and IgG, Joe, right?
Yes.
Right.
And some have been around for 10 years longer, HA Plus and X Flame.
Yeah.
So, what's your favorite on the Joe, other than GI and Probozon?
Ooh, boy, it's a tough one, but I'll tell you what, it's going to be between Glucolyze and Estro Cleanse, because when you're working with your blood sugar with insulin, that's a hormone. Estro Cleanse also helps balance hormones, so you get a synergy there. Okay, and then I got to go back to
Hold on, let's
Adrenamax.
not end there
Okay.
because we didn't stop there. Because when you look at what does drive hormones, right? Why do people have hormonal issues? It could be night sweats. It could be, you have hot flashes, right? It could be where you're having hormonal imbalance. Maybe you go into menopause or andropause sooner, right? Well, one of the things we found is that the hormones are being pushed too quickly.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be like if you had 100 people show up at your house at once, you can't get them in the front door.
Mm-hmm.
So they go around different directions. So we found with the hormone metabolism, some that pushes it too quickly is blood sugar and insulin.
Yes.
So is that why we connected the Glucolyze and Estro Cleanse?
Absolutely. And then you also address hormone imbalances again with Estro Cleanse by the imbalance between testosterone and estrogen. So it's about getting a full approach, not just one. Take, for example, Adrenamax and Thyro Complete. Why are they important together? Because both of those address the entire endocrine system. Okay, and a lot of functional medicine physicians say you should never treat an organ outside the body.
Right.
So don't just treat the thyroid, don't just treat the adrenals, treat the entire endocrine system. And that's why they're so powerful.
Well, Jim, being that you run the operations, any other products really pop out of you? I know sleep time, we do a lot of samples too, right?
Oh yes,
That and the
too many.
Calm Day.
Yeah.
Can you comment on those at all?
Yeah. So we have a full line of samples. We have 8-count samples that when you place an order, we also send samples out to you. So we do quite a bit of that as well. My favorite bundle is the power cleanse with the oranges. So I use that as a pre-workout. It's a nice smooth. You get the energy, but you get it without having the jitters or without having
the pineapple
the tingle
coconut
effect.
Pineapple coconut power cleanse.
No, the Power Fuel.
Oh, Power Fuel
with the
gotcha.
oranges. Yeah,
with the oranges.
So
That's a nice
that is strong.
Yeah, that's a nice combination. It works really, really well for me.
So that gives you all your cellular energy,
Mhm.
all your brain energy, balances blood sugar. It's giving all your electrolytes. It helps circulation, and of course, gives the foundation of the D-ribose, which your body uses rapidly for ATP.
Correct.
So if you're out there working out and you want to have better results,
Right.
better recovery, right, better production, better performance, put the other bundle like that: Power Fuel and looking at oranges. So love it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Jim. We really appreciate you. So generous with your time here.
Thanks for having me.
Any parting shots for you millions of fans listening out there?
Millions and millions.
Just thanks for tuning in. Looking forward to your business.
Yeah, remember, a guy who has all the experience in the field of nutraceuticals, there is a difference in quality. Right. We carry a lot of brands here at the World of Wellness, but we know Nutritional Frontiers, we have control of the quality, and this is by choice. Right. It's not by accident. So when someone looks at a label, those companies make the same choices. Joe?
Yeah, it always goes down to quality. You talk about this all the time, and I love your analogy between McDonald's and Capitol Grill. Both are inspected.
Right.
Board of Health, all right. So, but that doesn't mean the quality is the same.
Right.
And that's where we are. We're at the Capitol Grill level.
Yes.
Yeah, because the facility's inspected, but the ingredients, it's up to them to use whatever ingredients they want.
That's right.
You get what you pay for. And we are trying to give you a lot more, not only in the formulations, but all the education, all support, the sampling, the literature, the booklets, the shaker bottles, the NF gear, the events. We're trying to give you a lot more value than what you're going to get elsewhere. And someone came, like I said, today with a product from a pharmacy. Yesterday was from a company that's been around 100 years, and they were using cyanocobalamin as their
Yeah.
B12.
Yeah.
Folks, it makes a big difference. No wonder the product was half the price.
Right.
It had 5 ingredients, none of which was any therapeutic in nature, right? But they just looked at the price. You get what you pay for. Remember, price is what you pay, and value is what you get. So thanks, Joe Messino. Thanks, Jim Steiner. Thanks to Philly Phil and the board and all the support. Come on down. We're open today at 2419 Balvick Road. If you want to come down, we'll be here until 7 o'clock tonight. If you can make it down, give us a call, 412-922-9355. That's 412-922-WELL. Or you can always go to our website, right? drweiner.com, weinerwellnesscenter.com. Check us out on all social media, including Facebook and YouTube, World of Wellness or Nutritional Frontiers. Have a great day, folks. Thank you so much, and God bless.